Dadaji, tell us about where you were born.
So, I will give a little introduction to Punch, where I belong. I belong to a place called Punch. Punch used to be an independent state, and there used to be a British resident there. Later on, there's a fight going on between the Raja of Punch and the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir said Punch is not a state, it is a Jagir. It's not an independent state. So the Privy Council in UK eventually decided in favor of Jammu and Kashmir, and Punch then became a part of Jammu and Kashmir, and the resident was withdrawn. The British resident who used to stay there was withdrawn from Punch. Yeah, so Punch is a small state with 4 tehsils. Tehsil is a district, what you call now a district.
Okay.
It used to be called a tehsil. Each tehsil was in charge of a tehsildar. My father was the senior most tehsildar. I was born when my father was posted in Bagh, Tehsil Bagh, which is now, that's all in Pakistan. I was born in 1927.
1927.
And I was born in Bagh. After that, my father was transferred to Sudnuti, one of the other tahsils. And after 2 or 3 years in Bagh, when I was very small, my remembrance goes to Sudnuti. Palandri was the place. And my father was the king. We were born with a silver spoon. We used to go to school, and 2 persons used to carry me and my brother on their shoulders from our house, which was at a height, to school. So my father was, you can say, number 3 in the school. And naturally, we were big bosses.
So what were your parents' names? What was your father's name?
Lala Sitaram Maini.
And what was your mother's name?
Janki Devi.
And so was your dad in the military?
No.
No. What did he do?
He was in charge of the Tahsil. So he was number 3 in the state, my father. In the state of Punch, he was number 3. He was a very senior man. And so we spent about 3 or 4 years of childhood in Sudnuti, one of the Tahsil. And in the meantime, our father had started making a house in Punch. In the background, you can see that house. After he had built that house, we moved into Punch city. Punch city was surrounded by hills all around. Within half a kilometer, everywhere there was a hill. And there were 2 rivers which came and met at Punch. One was called Punch River, one was called Betard River. They met at Punch, and that is where we were brought up and schooled, in Punch state, Punch town. And in Punch town, the town itself was on a small hillock, you can see. There are ups and downs in the town also. So myself and my brother, we started going to school there, and we had a good time. The headmaster of Punch decided our fees was 3 paisa, 100 paisa in a rupee. The fee was 3 paisa. So he decided that rich children will pay 1 rupee, not 3 paisa. School, they found only 2 rich children, myself and my brother. They made our fee as 1 rupee. So we went and told our dad that our fee is now 1 rupee. He says, nothing doing. We're not paying. So we didn't pay. Then one day in the morning, there used to be prayers and a get together in the school compound. It was announced that Vyas and Surinder Maini have been rusticated from the school for non-payment of fees. So we left the school, went to my father's. He was also a first-class magistrate. In addition to being the Tahsildar, he was a magistrate who used to solve all the minor problems. This thing, both criminal and other. So he went into his thing, crime, and said that we have been told that you are rusticated. So a rupee used to be a big thing. My father put a court case against that headmaster for contempt of court and said 50,000 rupees, which is equal to maybe 50 crore. He put a contempt of court case against him, saying that my children came crying to my court while I was attending to a case. And this chap now got, he said, I'm finished now. Then he put Pitaji's friends and his friends, common friends, and said, ask Dalaji. No, Pitaji was known as Dalaji, Dala Sitaram. Dalaji ko bolo, mere ko maaf kar de. So Pitaji said, okay, maaf kar dunga, but the register in which my children have been rusticated will be torn away. A new register will be made. There will be no mention of any rustication. Blah, blah, blah. So we went back to school. So I did my matriculation from that school. It was called VJ State High School, Victoria Jubilee State High School. It's a nice school, good building, good teachers, and I was a good student. So I did my matriculation from that school. And my brother also did matriculation from school. And then my brother preceded me to Lahore. He was 2 years senior to me age, but only 1 year senior to me in school. Because I set a record by passing school at the age of 40. Normally, you pass school at the age of 50 or more. So my brother was 2 years senior to me, but only 1 year senior to me.
It's cool.
We joined DAV school now, Dhyanand Anglo Vedic School. And it's a very, very college, not school. The hostel had 441 rooms and about 1,000 children stayed in that hotel.
So you started university when you were 15?
Yes, I
Wow.
went to university when I was 14.
Those people were 15 when they started university or older?
Normally people go at 15. I did my graduation at 18 from DAV College, Lahore. And in the meantime, when I finished my intermediate, my father died. My mother said, you will continue your education, both the brothers.
And how old were you when your dad died?
16.
What happened to him?
He had diabetes, and then he had a big carbuncle. Carbuncle used to be a Koda type big thing here, and there was no penicillin. It was available in Lahore. So my Chachaji went all the way to Lahore to bring penicillin. And if he had survived till penicillin came, he would have been there. But he died before they could do the penicillin. Our mother was very, very brave lady. After graduation, I graduated with mathematics, what is called A and B course, and pure mathematics. Plus English was compulsory and one Urdu or vernacular. I did very well in my university exam. I was third or fourth in the university. Then I joined Government College Lahore. Because Government College Lahore was a place, if you passed out of Government College, the whole world was open. So instead of doing my MA in DAV College, I joined Government College. My 2 years study in MA Mathematics. Finished in 1947. And then came the partition of it. So I came back to Punch and without giving exam. And I was to go in September to give exam. But by then, Punch was surrounded from all sides and cut off from the world. Then what happened? There was some Dogra troops of the JT army who were doing nothing, just sitting there eating chicken. Kumaon regiment was sent to link Punch. Unfortunately, while they were coming towards Punch, there was a very tactical bridge. So these guys were coming and shouting Allahu Akbar to deceive the, and the Dogras who were sitting on that bridge thought that the Kawailis have come, Pakistanis have come. So they blew up that bridge. So what happened? Bulk of the regiment had to go back. Only some people and one jeep they were able to bring into Punch. And the CO of that regiment took charge of Punch. He, Pritam Singh was his name. He became the savior of Punch. But for him, these people were sitting on all the heights around Punch would have come in, they tried to come in once, and they would have massacred all of us. So he then started sending pickets onto various hills one by one and evacuate and push those people back and back. And when the troops used to go, all young people were supposed to follow them and bring back whatever food was there in those villages. Because there's nothing in Punch, which was a small town. So he made sure that not only he was extending the area, he also was able to feed the people by bringing back food and grains from these villages. Eventually, he said, we will build a airstrip. All the young people of the town, including me and my brother, whom we used to call Uchiyan Topiyan Wale, young people, able-bodied people in Punch, started expanding that small place and make a large enough airstrip for Dakotas to run. Dakota used to be the war horse of the First World War. Very good aircraft, small aircraft, but very excellent aircraft, Dakota. So then Dakota started landing in. Once Dakota started landing in Punch, bringing back food, ammunition, troops, and when they were going back, people were sent back in these Dakotas. People who were stuck there. What happened was that he said, "You chaps cannot go. You cannot go. I need you here." Eventually, we had a lot of people in the army. My two cousins were in the army. My mamaji was in the army. So he was getting a lot of pressure to send us. So we left Punch in December 1947, 6 months after the partition, and came to Delhi. We started life there, and I had applied for the army, and I was selected for the 4th regular course. But by the time we reached the 4th regular course had already started. I was told, if you want to join the army, you want to apply for the 5th regular course. So I applied for the 5th regular course, and I got selected. I got selected wherever I applied in my life. I had also applied for the Air Force. I got selected there also.
During all of this, Dadaji, where was your mom? Was she still in Poonch?
She was in Punch.
So was she able to leave as well?
Till we came out in 1947. Punch, she came with us.
Okay.
But she kept going every year to Punch after that. When I joined the 5th regular course in 1948, and I was commissioned in June 1950 in the Corps of Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. So that's how I started my army career, my elder brother. So he got temporary commission, and he became a second lieutenant a month before me. So that is how both of us joined the army. And so next we have to go to how I met the Ukraine. So what happened in 1949? I went on leave to Punch. I think 1951. I went to Punch, and my chachaji was I had two chachas, two younger. One was a advocate, and the other was a agent. They were called artis. All the stuff came to agents and then was distributed in various shops. So he wanted to please my father-in-law. My father-in-law, he had gone on tour to Punch, Malhotra Sahib. So he asked my chachaji, "We're looking for a boy for our daughter." He says, "No problem. We got a boy. My nephew is in the army. He's a lieutenant." So that is how it started. So when we were coming back from Punch in Jammu, the Malhotras called us to their house for a meal and a picnic. So we went there. I and your Dadi, we met, and well, we liked each other. And then when we went for the picnic, they sent ice cream through her to me. So I said, "Look, I cannot get married for 2 years." Because I had joined then the College of Military Engineering in Pune. And I couldn't get married till I had finished it. So I could not marry till 1953. Mangni kar do, shadi 2 saal ke baad. They agreed. Then I said, they were very conservative people. I said, we like to write letters to each other. They were shocked. They said, okay. So we started writing letters to each other. I used to write to your Dadi beautiful love letters. And she used to send me back weather report. And all my friends, all 13 will say, "Ki aa gayi?" They wanted to read it. I said, yeah, no. So they used to read that letter from Madhu. We said nothing other than they had gone to a hill station called Bator. The weather is very fine, it's raining. In 1952, we decided, we had 1 month leave. So we decided to go. My father-in-law was then posted in Surinder. So we said, okay, we are coming for a holiday. So we went to Srinagar. We spent the day together. And I was allowed to meet my fiancée for half an hour after lunch every day. That's all. Lunch, I used to sit down and we used to chat for hours. Then I told them I want to see a movie with her. They said, oh, okay. What they did, they sent me and Madhu for a movie along with her sister. Chaperone. I was very upset, but I couldn't do anything. Anyway, then in 1953, we got married in Delhi. My brother was posted in Delhi, Kent. And it was a very big function. There were two Pandits, one from their side and one army Pandit from our side. When we started, when the puja started, they started fighting. The two Pandits. So myself and my wife, we're going round and round and round and round. I don't know how many times. I asked them, can we stop now? They said, yes, it is enough. I think we did at least 9 prayers. We were supposed to do 3. We continued doing till these guys kept fighting. I was posted to station workshop. I took my wife with me to station workshop. So I had not informed anybody when I am coming. But the type of officers that you had those days, the 2IC of that company, it was commanded by a British officer. The 2IC came every day to the railway station to receive us, took us to his house, put us there. He was being posted out and I was to replace him. I was a lieutenant, I became a captain and I replaced him. In this course, whoever came first was sent to UK, to Marconi College for graduate apprenticeship for 2 years. But I stood first in this course. So they sent 2 people, one from the graduate course and one from this people who did engineering in the army, like me. So I was selected to go to UK. That was 1953 October. We boarded a ship from Bombay. It was a very big thing to go those days to foreign country. Entire family had come to Bombay to see us out. With me was one officer from the graduate course, Dayal. And Dayal and myself, we boarded the ship in Bombay, and 18 days it took to reach England. Those 18 days was the most glorious holiday you can think. In the morning, a white man ruled us for hundreds of years. He used to come and polish my shoes. I was so excited. I said, "You fellows, you have ruled on us so long, now you polish my shoes." So myself and Madhu, we were staying in a small compartment, and they all were staying in a glorious night. The menu card for breakfast used to be a few meters long, and so was the lunch and dinner. So my wife, she just see one dal and something. She said, "Don't be stupid. See, there's so much to eat." So, and at night, it was a British ship, and they had very strict rules about dress. So, in the evening for dinner, you have to dress up. You have to wear a suit. Myself and they used to either wear a suit or wear our uniform. Every evening we used to dress in that. We used to be dancing. That was all at government expense. We didn't have to spend a penny from our pocket. Madhu was carrying 7 months, but she was not showing. So that is how they permitted her to board the ship. They didn't know that she was carrying.
And she was pregnant with dad, with Vijay, with my dad.
7 years, 7 months. Because we reached there on 2nd November, 4th January.
Yeah, January 4th.
So we started living in a lodge called Broomfield Lodge. We were in Chelmsford. And since we were married, the rest of the boys, I was the only married one. There used to be about 5, 6 Indian and 5, 6 Pakistani students. In addition to their own British students of Marconi, they had given this facility to Indian and Pakistani armies to send their officers for this 2 years graduate apprenticeship, which included 2 courses at the Marconi College and the rest of the time in their works. We started life in Broomfield Lodge, and when Vijay was 6 months old, we decided to go for honeymoon because our original honeymoon was disrupted because of some stupid chap who called me back from Pahalgam. We had our honeymoon in Pahalgam in J&K, but after 10 days I was called back to India. So we decided that we deserve another honeymoon. There was a lady who used to work in Broomfield, very nice person. She had, I think, 4 or 5 kids of her own. She said, "I will keep Vijay. You go for your honeymoon." So we booked a very nice hotel in a place called Interlaken in Switzerland. Interlaken, it is between 2 lakes. Interlaken. It is very near from the Jungfrau. Jungfrau is a big mountain on which you have this dog sledges and this and that. So we spent 7 days honeymoon. After Broomfield Lodge, we said we can't stay here forever. We hired a house, independent house, and we shifted to that house. And Vijay by then was about maybe 8, 10 years old. And we shifted to that house. And whenever Madhu and I wanted to go and see a movie, go somewhere, all my friends used to come and babysit. They used to look after Vijay when we went to a movie went somewhere for anything. And if we wanted to go to London, we had another friend, Brigadier Agrawal. He and his wife were there. They're very nice people. And if we had to spend a whole day out, Vijay used to stay with them. They had different methods of looking out. Dayal had bought a Sakra car, old third-rate car. So what he used to do, put Vijay in the car and keep going around the town in his car for 3-4 hours till we came back. That was his method of babysitting. Jagdish uncle, you know Jagdish. He was the best babysitter. Then there was Tripat Singh. He became a lieutenant general, Captain Tripat Singh. He said, मैं देखूंगा, मैं करूंगा. So he did babysitting one day. When we came back, we saw that our drawing room light was being switched on and off, on and off. We said, hey, what is this? We entered and Tripat told us that he was crying. The only way to keep him quiet was to switch on and switch off this light. For 3 hours, switching off this light.
Oh my
Holding
gosh.
Mickey in his lap. We had a very good time for 2 years in Canada. We had very good friends. Okay, next year, we hired a car, Mars Minor. It's a tiny car that is myself, Madhu, Vicky, and Colonel Eugene, his wife, and he was a South Indian Christian, Eugene, his wife, and their 4 or 5-year-old daughter. All of us in that car. So we crossed the channel by boat. This went to Belgium. Then we toured the entire Europe in that car. We were on the Autobahn. Autobahn were made by Hitler during war. And in this fully loaded Mars Minor, on the roof of it was the luggage, including which is the small perambulator chair. And we had put a tarpaulin on top so that things don't get spoiled. So Autobahn, we were going in the first lane at a speed of maybe 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers. And people were zooming past. Breeze came and blew away our tarpaulin. We started going back. It was impossible. We couldn't turn back. So we carried on. Tarpaulin was gone. So we were supposed to go to that university town, famous university town of Germany, called Heidelberg. So on the Autobahn, about 10 kilometers beforehand, we used to show signage, Heidelberg, you keep in the left lane, and then you leave the Autobahn and take a walk. Stupid Indians, we missed that Heidelberg road and crossed. Now we were in a fix because now we have to go 20 kilometers ahead, take the next layover, go back 20 kilometers, take the next layover and come back. Like good Indians, we stopped the car, started looking for a place from where we could cross over into the opposite lane going on the other side. So we found a place, we did cross and we entered that lane. So they looked at us and said, what can you do to these idiots? They didn't chalan us. They said, follow us. So they took us back to the previous layover. The police stayed with us. We took the Heidelberg road. We spent 2 nights in Paris. My other compatriot, that Lieutenant Colonel, was a total idiot. He couldn't know about roads and things. So we decided that we will go to these nightclubs separately. One couple will look after the children, and the other couple will go to the nightclub. We wanted to go to Lido's, saw the dance at Lido's. Muller was also a place where we found a lot of music, very good food, and so one day myself and Madhu, we went to Muller and went to Lido's. These are the two famous nightclubs of Paris. And we had food outside. In Pigalle is the area where you have all these sex shops. In Pigalle, there are people selling dosas, fraps. They used to make frap on this thing. You could put jam on it, whatever you wanted. So we ate that. We went to these two. We had a glorious time.